Understanding borrowing in subtraction. Borrowing is a method we use in subtraction when we're subtracting a larger number from a smaller number in a column. We borrow from the next column to make the smaller number bigger. Understanding borrowing in subtraction. Example: suppose you have to subtract 48 to 29. Since you can't take 9 away from 8 in the ones place, you borrow from the tens column. Step-by-step guide to borrowing. Let's go through the borrowing steps using the example 53 to 27. Step 1. Write the problem in columns. Write 53 on top and 27 below it, with the numbers lined up by place value, ones under ones, tens under tens. Step 2. Look at the ones column. In the ones column, you have 3 to 7. Since 3 is smaller than 7, you need to borrow. Step 3. Borrow from the tens column. Go to the tens column and borrow 1 10 from the 5, which is 50. When you take 1 10 away from 5 tens, it becomes 4 tens. Add that 1 10, 10, to the 3 in the ones column, turning it into 13. Step 4. Subtract the ones column. Now you have 13 to 7 in the ones column. Subtracting 7 from 13 equals 6. Write 6 in the ones column. Step 5. Subtract the tens column. Move to the tens column, where you now have 4 to 2. Subtracting 2 from 4 equals 2. Write 2 in the tens column. Answer. The answer to 53 minus 27 is 26. Using visuals to explain borrowing. Picture example 1. Draw a bundle of tens and some loose ones to show borrowing. For instance, for 53 to 27, draw 5 10 sticks, bundles of 10, and 3 single blocks. Show that we break 1 10 stick into 10 single blocks and add them to the 3. Using visuals to explain borrowing. Picture example 2. Use a number line. Start from 53 and jump back in steps, borrowing to go from 53 to 26. This helps visualize the subtraction process. Hands-on practice with borrowing. Using base 10 blocks or cut-out paper pieces, provide students with physical base 10 blocks, tens and ones, or paper cutouts to practice borrowing in real time. They can literally borrow a 10 block, break it into ones, and use it to solve the problem. Hands-on practice with borrowing. Example activity. Write several subtraction problems on paper and have kids use their blocks to practice each step of borrowing as they work through each problem. Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Forgetting to change the tens column after borrowing. Remind students that after they borrow from the tens column, they need to reduce the tens column by 1. Not adding enough to the ones place. Make sure they understand that they're adding a full 10 to the ones place when borrowing. Example practice problem. 72 to 48. Walk through the steps, emphasizing that when they borrow from the 7 in the tens place, it changes to a 6, and they add 10 to the 2 in the ones place, making it 12. Practice problems for reinforcement. Example 1 to 64-27. Tens column, borrow from 6, becomes 5, making 4 in the ones column into 14. Answer, 37. Example 2 to 91-46. Borrowing from the tens column. Answer, 45. Fun games to reinforce borrowing. Borrowing bingo. Make bingo cards with subtraction problems that involve borrowing. As you call out answers, kids mark off the problems. Borrowing relay race. Create a race where each child or group solves a borrowing problem. When they get it correct, they pass the problem to the next group. Fun games to reinforce borrowing. Borrowing bingo. Make bingo cards with subtraction problems that involve borrowing. As you call out answers, kids mark off the problems. Fun games to reinforce borrowing. Borrowing relay race. Create a race where each child or group solves a borrowing problem. When they get it correct, they pass the problem to the next group.